Okay, so we got this article all about a 30-second stress relief trick.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, there's a pressure point that just melts away anxiety.
Interesting.
A pressure point for instant calm. I don't know about that, but I'm willing to try anything at this point.
Yeah, I get that. A quick fix is always tempting.
For sure.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, maybe we should dig into the science a bit, Like, why does anxiety even hit us so hard in the first place?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think to understand that, we got to go way back. Like, way back to our ancestors.
You're talking about the whole fight or flight thing.
Exactly. Like, imagine our ancestors, right? They're constantly on edge.
Scanning for threats.
Right.
Yeah.
Every rustle in the leaves could be a predator.
So their heart rate jumps, breathing gets faster.
Senses sharpen, yeah. That's that fight or flight response in action.
A surge of energy to either face the danger or run like heck.
Exactly. It's a system designed to keep us alive.
Okay, that makes sense in like a prehistoric setting.
Right.
But why do I get all anxious about deadlines and traffic jams?
Right.
Those aren't exactly life or death situations.
That's the thing, though. Our modern stressors, they're not saber-toothed tigers.
Right.
But our brains, they haven't quite gotten the memo yet.
Oh, interesting.
So emails, deadlines, presentations, all that stuff,
Yeah.
it can trigger that same primal response.
So basically my brain is reacting to a work email like it's like a charging rhino.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Your body's reacting as if you're in real danger.
Even when logically I know I'm not.
Exactly.
No wonder it feels so overwhelming sometimes.
Right. Okay, so how does this ancient wiring actually play out in our brains?
Yeah, good question.
So there's this part of the brain called the amygdala.
Okay.
It's basically our fear center.
The fear center, okay.
And here's the thing. It reacts before the more logical parts of the brain can even process what's happening.
Wait, hold on. So you're saying my fear system is hitting the gas pedal before my logic even has a chance to, like, put on the brakes?
Yeah, pretty much. You get this surge of anxiety before you even consciously realize what's happening.
Wow.
And the more we experience those false alarms, the more sensitive our nervous system becomes to them.
Oh, okay.
It's like wearing a groove in a record, The more you play it, the deeper that groove gets.
So even though I know my inbox isn't going to attack me, my body is learning to freak out about it anyway.
Yeah, that's basically it.
I mean, it makes sense, but it's kind of terrifying.
Right. It is a bit unsettling. But here's the good news, okay?
Okay.
This article actually highlights some fascinating research on how we can rewire those anxiety pathways.
Okay, now we're talking.
Right.
So it's not just a case of like, calm down or like, think positive.
Yeah.
We can actually change how our brains react to stress.
Absolutely. Techniques like deep breathing and mindfulness, they can help teach your brain to recognize safety, instead of constantly sounding the alarm.
Okay.
And the article specifically mentioned this technique called, what was it called?
Progressive muscle relaxation.
Yes, progressive muscle relaxation.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it involves like consciously tensing and then releasing different muscle groups.
Right.
So basically, you're teaching your nervous system the difference between tension and relaxation.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's like a crash course in chill out mode.
Exactly. And according to the article, like regular practice of techniques like this, it can actually rewire those anxious pathways over time.
Okay, so there's a bit of hope for those of us battling the daily anxiety monster.
Yeah.
But let's get back to that 30-second pressure point trick.
Okay.
The article, it made some pretty bold claims about it.
Yeah, it did. It claims there's this pressure point in your hand called HT7.
HT7, okay.
Which can supposedly trigger instant calmness.
Come on. Really?
Now, before you start picturing yourself pressing a magic button to erase all your stress,
Oh, believe me, I was already there.
let's look at how this pressure point is supposed to work.
Okay.
It's connected to this idea of acupressure.
Like acupuncture.
Yeah, but with fingers instead of needles.
Right. I've heard of that.
It's based on this belief that stimulating specific points on the body,
Okay.
it can influence this flow of energy
Energy, okay.
and affect various systems, including the nervous system.
So is there any science to back up this whole energy flow idea? It sounds a little out there to me.
It definitely is an ancient practice with roots in traditional Chinese medicine.
Yeah.
But there has been some modern research into acupressure and its effects on, stress and anxiety.
Like what kind of research? Did they find that pressing on these points actually, changes something in the brain?
Well, some studies have shown that applying pressure to specific points, including this HT7 point,
Yeah.
it can reduce levels of cortisol in the blood.
Cortisol, that's the stress hormone, right?
Exactly. So while more research is definitely needed,
Okay.
there's some evidence suggesting that acupressure could have like a real physiological impact on stress.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it's not as far-fetched as it sounds.
Right.
But let's be real here. Even if this pressure point does something, is it really going to be like a miracle cure for anxiety?
No, definitely not. And the article makes it clear, too. It says acupressure is not a magic bullet.
Right.
It's more like a first aid tool, something you can use in the moment to help calm those racing thoughts, calm that pounding heart.
Before we dive deeper into that, we wanted to take a moment to remind you to like this video and subscribe to our channel if you're enjoying this deep dive. We put a lot of heart and soul into creating these episodes, and your support means the world to us.
We love sharing these insights with you, and we appreciate you being part of our community.
So it's not going to fix my underlying anxiety, but it might help me ride out those, intense waves of panic.
Yeah, that's the idea. It's like hitting the pause button on your stress response.
Okay.
Giving you a chance to breathe and regain some control.
Okay, I like the sound of that.
Right.
Especially if it can be done in 30 seconds.
Right.
So how do I actually find this magical HT7 pressure point?
It's actually pretty easy to locate.
Yeah.
Just look at the palm of your hand, right?
Uh-huh.
And imagine a line running from your middle finger down to your wrist.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
HT7 is right about in the middle of that line.
Okay.
Slightly towards the pinky side.
Got it. And I just press on it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Use the thumb of your opposite hand and apply, gentle but firm pressure. The article says you might feel like a tingling or aching sensation.
Okay.
But it shouldn't be painful.
Okay. Not painful. That's good. And I hold it for 30 seconds.
That's what they recommend, but you can experiment a bit.
Yeah.
See what works best for you. Some people hold it for a minute or two.
Right.
Or even try applying pressure to both hands at the same time.
So basically a little DIY stress relief experiment.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to give it a try.
It's worth a shot, right?
For sure.
Especially if you're looking for, a quick and easy way to manage those overwhelming moments of anxiety. But remember...
This is not a replacement for actually addressing my anxiety issue.
Exactly. The pressure point might be a handy tool to have in your back pocket.
Yeah.
But the real work comes from understanding the root causes of your anxiety, learning healthy coping mechanisms, and retraining those anxious pathways in your brain.
So it sounds like this 30-second trick is a potential quick fix.
Yeah.
But we can't forget about the bigger picture of anxiety management.
You got it. It's about finding what works for you, both in the moment and in the long run. And remember, you're not alone in this.
Right.
Millions of people experience anxiety, and there are so many resources and techniques out there to help you manage it effectively.
Well said. So to our listener who sent in this article, it sounds like you've got a potential quick fix to try out, but don't forget about those long-term strategies for building a calmer, more resilient you.
And maybe this deep dive has sparked some curiosity about those long-term strategies. What small changes can you make in your daily life to start rewiring those anxious pathways?
Yeah.
Could it be a few minutes of deep breathing each day? Or, exploring a meditation app? Or maybe even just, being more mindful of that inner voice, the one.
The one that tends to, catastrophize everything.
Yeah.
It's so easy to feel like anxiety has all the power. But, learning about these techniques.
Right.
And understanding the science behind it all.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I can actually do something to manage it.
I think that's key.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
And understanding how your mind and body work, that's the first step to taking control.
For sure.
The article even pointed out that just being aware of, the physical symptoms of anxiety,
Okay.
that can help you respond to them more effectively.
That's interesting. So instead of just freaking out when my heart starts racing,
Yeah.
I can remind myself, okay, this is just my fight or flight response.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean I'm in actual danger.
Yeah, you can start to reframe those physical sensations as information rather than threats.
Okay.
And that shift in perspective can be incredibly empowering.
Yeah, I can see that. So to sum things up, we've learned that anxiety, it's a deeply ingrained physiological response. But that doesn't mean we're helpless against it.
No, not at all.
We can retrain our brains.
Yeah.
We can cultivate calmness through practices like deep breathing, mindfulness, and even that muscle relaxation technique.
Exactly.
And while that 30-second pressure point trick might offer some, in-the-moment relief,
Yeah.
the real key is to address the underlying causes of anxiety and develop healthy coping strategies.
Absolutely.
So to our listener who sent in this article,
Yeah.
we hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights and tools to navigate the world of anxiety. Remember, knowledge is power,
Yes.
and understanding how your body and mind work is the first step toward taking control. And hey, who knows? Maybe that pressure point trick will become your new secret weapon for those moments when anxiety tries to take over.
And remember, even small, consistent steps, they can lead to big changes over time. Be
Yeah.
patient with yourself and keep exploring what helps you feel calmer, more empowered. You got this.